This is Pixie doing a video. How are you? Hope you're well. So today, I've been watching videos to do with like poltergeists. They're like really haunted, and there's some other ones as well. I don't know if they're setting up some of these things, the effects, such as banging doors and things like objects lifted up. And some are demonstrating some power, but they don't actually seem to do much around people. Or if they do it, it's kind of, well, it builds up to it. It's like almost like they're shy about it. And that's because they must have a certain vulnerability. So looking at one of these guys, I think it's truly haunted. The entity said it wasn't, it's never been born, and it's not human. And often we think of poltergeists as ghost activity to do with departed humans, but actually they're possibly not. Possibly all one type of entity. I could have gone there, but maybe not. I'm doing it in an aggressive manner. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so there's a good chance that most of the poltergeists are not actually ever been human, because they've got maybe ability that humans, when humans pass on, maybe they don't have telekinetic powers. Maybe there's limitation, because always people say, well, you know, if you pass away, show me a sign and let me know. But it doesn't tend to do much. It either takes a lot of energy to do that, or it's a case of being able to retain some sort of energy and use it. But these entities, so they're possibly alien. It may be that they actually live underground or in much darker places. You're more likely to find them in a mine or somewhere like that. And what do they feed on? You know, these sorts of questions as well. I think other energy. So possibly electricity. I sometimes have some stuff going on in my place, but it only seems to be an electrical thing. I mean, I have had something fall over or small amounts of movement. But it could be that it just takes so much energy and they have to build it up like a battery to release it. And it's possibly feeding off some maybe electrical, static. Maybe it's hard to process that energy, but they can feed off it. And then also, how much of a physical form does a sort of poltergeist type entity have? Because they can materialise, but tends to be in very dark places. And if the light comes on, they disappear, because I think they're actually vulnerable to light. Like it can burn them or something. Just like having ultra sensitive skin. So, you know, somebody had an entity in a room, you could check a flashbang or something. You know, that would it'd be like being hit by a discharge of energy or something. So it may be sound, but there's some stuff that doesn't make sense, like something wailing or something moving around. But then it's trying to figure out why are these entities here. It could be that they've been excommunicated from wherever they are located, which could be in an underground labyrinth or city. They have some behaviour that resembles humans in that they need to open doors. Some of them to go around, or the doors start creaking open. It's like they start engaging with physical objects like that, or stairs. They need to walk around. They just flow, which means that either is a behaviour picked up from their previous existence in whatever form that is, or maybe be, like you say, they're in a different dimensions, which it happens to correlate to this dimension, and has stairs and things in it. And it also means if they have to move physical things to get through, because if they're not able to, if they can't just walk through walls, and they've got to move around empty spaces, it does mean they can be captured. And where you've got things like the legend of the genie and the lamp and so on, you know, so there could be certain things. I mean, I wouldn't say you want to capture some spirit and hold it ransom. It could be the genie and the lamp. The actual story is that the entity was trapped in a lamp and was asked to give wishes or do stuff for someone to be released, or give them knowledge or something. Because if the entity can't leave, then what can it do power-wise? So yeah, it's difficult to know. But then I see a lot of these different videos and different impressions about that. I think I will. Oh shit! Where can I go? Okay, let's go that way. Yeah, I might have to do a little road trip. It's just getting time off from work. I'm always bloody working like mad. So yeah, I might do something. Depending on the weather and stuff. I need to upgrade my phone at some point. I keep getting something called camera fail, that's a bit odd on it. Or change the focus of the angle of the lens, or sort of forward facing or backwards facing, or whatever you want to call it, and that can generate some issues. Yeah, and the other thing I was thinking about, because I had some activity in my place, but recently had my front door replaced, because the other front door wasn't a perfect seal. There was a little gap underneath the door, and so things from the corridor could travel across between different flats. But that might have changed since all they've got different doors on, so I don't know what effect that might have. And also things, if they're psychokinetic and they've got this, you know, ability to move objects around, and if they act in an aggressive manner towards humans, they still following some sort of code of rules or you know, laws and things like that, because they could do much more damage than they choose to, which is a bit unusual, but it doesn't really fully make sense. Especially when people are harmed and other activity. I mean, so there might be a whole spectrum of entity, you know, categories, I guess. But it could be that something's an entirely different species. And so what does a human ghost do? Maybe interacts with dreams and communication more than anything. But it may lack that kind of energy level to maybe possession as well. What would a human spirit want? It want access to a body, and it might want to influence someone in the living to know something. I mean, there could be some stuff where the process of dying has left it sort of like with a disability, and so it has to repeat patterns of behaviour. They call it like memories, or that there's a kind of outer entity that we represent as well. But yeah, anyway, so pick this on off, and I'll speak to you soon. Yeah.